Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're cracking open the playbook of a literal local institution. We're going to go step by step through an absolute masterclass on what it takes to be a certified grill cook at Tacker Shake Shack. Now, if you've ever wondered how high-volume kitchens juggle quality, speed, and safety all at the same time, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to treat this explainer as a chronological journey, a literal day in the life of a shift working that massive 48-inch griddle.
So here's our roadmap for the shift. 1. Legacy and brand code. 2. Shift setup. 3. Grill zones. 4. The Smashburger SOP. 5. Russian deli. And 6. Safety and closing. Basically, this maps out the entire flow of a shift, moving logically from your starting mindset, right through prep, active cooking, and finally closing it all down safely.
All right, Section 1, the Tacker Legacy and Simple Brand Code. Before you even think about turning on a burner, you have to understand the core philosophy here. This job is viewed as God's platform to share divine love. You're there to reflect that glory and literally be a blessing to the community.
I absolutely love this quote straight from their operations manual. It really hits the nail on the head regarding the mindset you need. While we cook hamburgers, we sell great experiences. It's such a crucial reminder that having technical skill on the grill, well, that's really only half the job. Satisfied guests are the whole reason the doors stay open, and ultimately, they're the ones making the paychecks possible. You've always got to be thinking like a customer.
And that customer-first mindset extends directly to how you present yourself. They call this the simple brand code. Basically, your outer clothing must constantly represent Tackers. So if you've got a Tackers zip hoodie on, it needs to be zipped up, or you got to have a Tackers tee underneath. For safety in the kitchen, closed-toe, slip-resistant shoes are absolutely not negotiable. And finally, if you're a guy working in the kitchen, a hat or a hairnet is strictly required. It's all about safety, consistency, and fiercely protecting the brand's image.
Moving right along to Section 2, Shift, Setup, and Prep. Anyone in the restaurant industry will tell you your ability to survive a massive dinner rush relies completely on your meticulous preparation before the doors even open. If you fall behind on prep, the grill falls behind and the customer experience just tanks.
And for prep, the number 4 is going to be your absolute best friend. Every single signature quarter-pound smash burger starts its life as a precise 4-ounce meatball. To guarantee consistency for that famous Big John patty, cooks use a very specific gray-handled scoop. It completely takes the guesswork out of portioning so you can just move fast.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that 4-ounce scoop translates into crazy high-efficiency prep. You aren't just tossing meatballs into a pan willy-nilly, you arrange them in precise 5x7 rows before sliding them into the chef-base cooler. Total organization equals pure speed. Once the beef is prepped, you immediately pre-cook the bacon until it's perfectly crisp. That way you're armed and ready the second the rush hits.
Now, alongside the beef and bacon, there is a super critical food safety standard for the chicken. Chicken breast must be cooked to an internal temperature of exactly 165 degrees Fahrenheit, no exceptions. Once it hits that safe temp, it goes straight into its designated pan and immediately into the chef base. This entirely prevents cross-contamination and makes sure you have safe, fully cooked poultry ready to be fired for sandwiches at a moment's notice.
Okay, Section 3, Mastering the Grill Zones. When you're standing in front of 4 feet of blazing hot steel, you aren't just cooking, you are managing real estate.
It is all about a strict rotation system. During peak times, those middle burners are cranked up to a blistering 400 to 450 degrees. That is your primary searing zone for raw beef. But check out the outer edges. They're kept way lower, around 300 to 350 degrees. This cooler real estate is specially reserved for melting cheese, gently heating deli meats, and keeping cooked poultry warm without, burning it to a crisp. You've got to be constantly rotating food between these distinct zones.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Smashburger SOP. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it's essentially the technical climax of our whole explainer. This is the exact menu item that built the brand, and there is a very specific, heavily mandated way to cook it.
So here's the sequence. First, you take that prepped 4-ounce meatball with your tongs and drop it onto the hottest 450 degrees section of the grill. Next, grab your spatula and smash it down forcefully until it forms a 4.5-inch circle. Then, you just let it sear in that extreme heat for 2 to 3 minutes. What you're watching for is a visual cue. The edges of the beef absolutely must turn a crispy, savory brown before you even think about touching it with your scraper. Once you finally get that perfect sear, you scrape it off the hot zone. But wait, You do not flip it back onto the 450-degree steel. No way. You flip the burger onto that cooler 350-degree zone we just talked about. Why? Because while the burger finishes its final 2 to 3 minutes of cooking, you add the cheese. The cooler zone makes sure the cheese melts flawlessly into the patty without overcooking or burning the bottom of the beef. It's a remarkably precise culinary rotation.
But how do you know it's actually ready? Well, Tacker's has a rigid Big John patty policy. Never, ever serve undercooked ground beef. To verify a burger is well done, you have to perform this very specific quality check. You use a bun, flip the burger upside down right into your hand, and literally peel back a small layer of the beef. This exposes the interior, practically guaranteeing to both you and the customer that the patty is 100% fully cooked before it ever leaves your kitchen.
All right, moving to Section 5, Rush Priorities in Deli. Picture this. The doors are open, the dining room is packed, and the dinner rush just hits you like a freight train. You're working the grill, flipping smash burgers left and right, but tickets are flying in. And hey, not everyone wants a burger. You have to manage the deli station at the exact same time.
Now, the deli comes with its own strict set of standards, starting with a massive, absolutely non-negotiable safety rule. You must be 18 years or older to operate the meat slicer. Period. If you aren't 18, a manager has to do it. When you are slicing, precision is everything. Ham and turkey, always slice thin on setting 3. Bologna, that gets a thicker cut on setting 6. You slice it, you label it, and you get it straight into the walk-in to keep the line moving fast.
So, the crucial point here is how you manage all this chaos. Operational excellence during a rush boils down to the KDS, the Kitchen Display System. You can't just put your head down and cook what's right in front of you. You have to actively scan the screen, catch special requests, and instantly prioritize your grill rotation. If a ticket has a well-done burger, a grilled chicken sandwich, and a deli club, you have to know intuitively exactly which zone of the griddle to use to make sure they all finish at the exact same time. It's like conducting an orchestra.
Finally, Section 6, Safety, Cleaning, and Closing. Phew, the rush is over. As the adrenaline wears off, the pacing of the kitchen really slows down to a methodical, highly careful focus. Because remember, a clean restaurant is a safe restaurant.
These closing duties, completely non-negotiable. First up, you scrape and use a grill brick to scrub that 48-inch griddle completely clean of all carbon and organic matter. Next, you empty the grease grit pan. The operations manual is incredibly firm about this. Grease pans can never, ever sit on the line overnight. Finally, the absolute last thing you do is visually and physically verify that every single gas appliance and burner is turned completely off.
And just like that, we've reached the end of the shift and the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with this one thought to chew on. How will your mastery of the 48-inch griddle tonight guarantee a great Tacker's experience tomorrow? Because honestly, doing the prep right, expertly managing those heat zones, and closing down safely, it's not just about getting through your shift. It's about honoring Big John Tacker's legacy and making sure tomorrow's team is totally ready to be a blessing to the community. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer today, and hey, keep learning.